Well, obviously it's dangerous. We're looking at the numbers and they seem to be increasing very rapidly. It was first reported at the end of December, and since then we've seen increasing numbers of cases reported, and obviously it is spreading from China to several other countries, including a case in Washington State reported yesterday. The majority of us, really don't need to be worried. We're not at risk. Me sitting here in Manhattan, Kansas, I'm not at all concerned. But for people traveling, especially to Wuhan, obviously, which is the epicenter at the moment, there is concern. The Center for Disease Control has issued a level 2 travel advisory that basically is telling people if they do go to Wuhan, then certainly don't associate with sick people and avoid live animals and animal markets.
Well, let me get to the seafood market, which is believed to be the starting point of this outbreak. Explain to us what that really means. Does that mean people might have been exposed by touching an animal, by eating a certain type of meat?
We really don't know the details. So the WHO has identified this. It's a fish and live animal market. Obviously, such markets in China are very busy places with a lot of local people shopping there, but possibly international visitors as well. We don't know how it's transmitted yet. We know now China has said that it's transmitted, obviously, from person to person. The speculation is based on previous experience. We've seen other coronaviruses, the severe acute respiratory syndrome, SARS, MERS, Middle Eastern respiratory syndrome. We've seen those essentially spill over from animal species to people. So the speculation is that some animal, who knows what type at the moment, it has not been identified, but one of those live animals in that market had this new virus, and somehow that virus has jumped to people. And what seems to happen is that once it has made that step, then it adapts and becomes increasingly transmissible from person to person. 15
medical workers in Wuhan, Professor, who presumably came into contact with patients, are now infected. How can these medical workers protect themselves?
Well, all hospitals have standard operating procedures and wear personal protective equipment. This is a virus that is certainly respiratory transmitted, so like a common cold.
So masks would make a difference here?
Yes. When I travel to China, you often see people in face masks, and those relatively simple and inexpensive face masks are sort of like the first barrier of protection. But then obviously trying to avoid places of high risk is another factor that people can do if they're traveling.
All right.